So like many things that I've described already, it wasn't a very deliberate transition for me. So I sold my first company. I worked for Ameridata for a year and a half. I ran the consulting business that was my business. We grew it from about a $2 million business to a $5 million business in the first 6 to 9 months. They then bought a $20 million version of what we were. When I say they, I was involved in it, but they did the work. I just showed up and was the other person in their business that knew what a consulting business was. We bought this $20 million business in St. Paul and merged Feld Technologies into it. And as part of that, the guy running that, David Mitchell, became the CEO of the consulting business, and I became the CTO, which basically was just a license to run around and torture everybody in the business. So I was involved. I'd never done any deals up to this point other than selling our own company. So I got involved now in the deal team. And basically every company Ameridata was buying was a hardware resale company. Almost all, not all, almost all were hardware resale companies. And every one of them had a founder who was a software guy who thought he created something really magic and special and amazing and incredible. And my job was to go hang out, and when I left, that software guy was supposed to feel inferior and inept. So I would hang out with these software guys, and I had a lot of fun, made some friends. And essentially all the software was almost uniformly worthless, what these people had done. And they were hardware resale companies. But we sort of got through that in the negotiations. So that was part of my job. My other part of my job was to run around. This was when Novell NetWare had crested as a server software. Microsoft with Windows on the server side was just beginning. Windows NT was just beginning to emerge. And my view was that Novell was over because I sat in a meeting with Ray Norda. That was a big strategy meeting between Ameridata and Novell, and Ray fell asleep. And he was old, and he was not engaged in the business. And it was clear that like the people were just looking to this guy that was asleep, literally, not figuratively, asleep, to lead them in this discussion. And then you go to Microsoft, and Ballmer was like, I'm going to kill those people at Novell. And it was obvious that who was going to win that battle. So it was Windows, Windows, Windows. And then he sweats some Windows. And so my job was to be involved in those discussions too, which was pretty interesting. And during this period of time, I made a bunch of investments with my own money. So I started making angel investments in 1994, $25,000 investments, $50,000 was a big investment for me. And I did about 30 investments between 94 and 96. And I really learned how to do equity investments during this period of time. And a couple of companies were super successful. One that people here may know is Harmonix, which are the guys that created originally Guitar Hero and then Rock Band, and have recently bought the company back from Viacom. That was an early angel investment of mine. NetGenesis, which was one of the first internet software companies, went public in '99. Critical Path, which was another early internet software company, went public in '99. Both of those companies had huge market caps and eventually imploded in a bubble, but ended up being real businesses and great investments. And in '96, I connected with some guys from this company called SoftBank, which was a Japanese company that I had not heard of. They had recently bought a company called Ziff Davis, which is a publishing company, and recently bought a trade show called Comdex, and had a chairman who had become a billionaire and was very aggressively buying up and investing in US-based companies, and had built a team in the US to invest in US-based digital media companies in 1995, 1996. So early investment in Yahoo, early investment in E-Trade, and a group of people who worked for SoftBank, plus a group of us who were affiliates. So I was an affiliate. Guy Rich Levendov, who's now at a firm called Avalon, was an affiliate. A guy named Fred Wilson, who's now a partner at Union Square Ventures, was an affiliate. All of us sort of worked together in the mid-90s with these couple of guys from SoftBank investing. SoftBank committed theoretically $500 million to us to invest. We invested in about less than a year, let's say 9 months or a year. We invested about $200 million in 60 companies. Very, very rapid investment pace. Maybe it was more than that, it was 80 companies. And we had, probably 10 term sheets out. We were closing a deal or two a week at this point, maybe 3 deals in a good week. We had a lot of follow-on investments going on. And it was a very small group of people, very small team. And the returns were stunning. I mean, stuff was coming back already, and it was really a very high velocity period. And I remember we had Monday calls, and the Monday calls would usually go a couple hours where we'd go through everything because we were just doing so much. and everybody was all over the place. And one of the SoftBank guys, Gary, on this Monday call said, I just talked to the guys in Tokyo, and I just requested another $50 million, and they said they have no more money for us. And the worst thing to be when you're a venture capitalist is to have no money. It's absolutely the worst position you can be in. It's even worse to be in a position where you have companies expecting to fund you and have no money. So we're in this position where if you're an entrepreneur that I recently agreed to a term sheet with, I had to call you up and say, sorry, I'm basically impotent at this point. I have no money. I can't follow through on this thing. Or if I've already invested in you and it's an early stage investment and now you're ready for the next round, you're looking to me to participate at least in that next round. I'm like, sorry, I got no money. That doesn't make your financing any easier. So that was a position we found ourselves in 1996. And myself with 3 of the guys from SoftBank ended up starting a firm which was originally called SoftBank Technology Ventures, turned into Mobius Venture Capital. Same firm, we own SoftBank Technology Ventures, SoftBank was just our sponsor. But we went out and spent a year and raised a $300 million fund. And that's how I ended up being a venture capitalist. So I was kind of doing my own thing, kind of hanging out with these guys. I didn't have the same kind of commission deal that I have at Petcom, but it was the same kind of thing. I got paid for my deals, not for their deals. So if they did shitty deals, it didn't really impact me. And if I did great deals, I got more money. But ultimately, we ended up creating this partnership that, for those of you that know that particular story, we had a very, very successful first fund that we raised in 1997. We had a disastrous part.
Fund 3.
Fund 4. No, Fund 4. Fund 4 was a 97 fund.
97.
So we had 3 we called our first fund Fund 4 because we figured that it's better than Fund 1. And we actually had a rationalization for it, which was a really weak rationalization, but it was a rationalization nonetheless. Which was that there had actually been 3 different SoftBank funds that we'd invested out of. There was, I can't remember, Soft Then and Soft Something 1 and Soft Something 2. So we just called it SoftBank Technology Ventures 4. That fund did great. Fund 5 has been a disaster. We raised that fund in 1999, invested in 12 months, total disaster. And then Fund 6, which was a $1.25 billion fund, very large fund.
Now Mobius, this was Fund 5.
Yep. Yeah, all of those are, essentially Mobius is the umbrella over them, which we're still actively managing. It's an investor in Rally Software locally, Return Path, Still Secure, Gold Systems, a company in Seattle called Impinge, energy company, how we invest in an energy company, go figure, called Bloom, which is High Flyer. We were investors in a company called Infinera, which went public a couple of years ago. Investors in a company called Postini, which Google bought. A company called FeedBurner, which Google bought. So we've had a number of successes. Howard's company, Rebar, which owned corporate software, we were investors in. That fund, the 2000 fund, will end up being a successful fund, but it will be a successful fund 15 years later. So, this sort of notion that venture capital is a fast-turn business was disproved by that fund. Although the 97 fund, probably hit its maximum return point in about 5 or 6 years. So